Hey guys, Max Weigand here. So in today's video, I want to share with you the fastest way to overcoming procrastination in your life. Because we all know the devastating impacts that procrastination can have on our personal and our professional lives, right? So whether you're scrolling through your Facebook feed all day long to avoid studying, or you're watching the yodeling kid in Walmart on YouTube, rather than starting that research project, or you just can't find the time to go for an evening run because for whatever bizarre reason you've convinced yourself that you have to watch TV tonight. We all know what procrastination feels like, but how do we stop it? Well, over 20 years ago, in 1995, Dr. Timothy Pychyl started the so-called Procrastination Research Group. And so he dedicated his work and his life to studying why we procrastinate and what we can do about it. The single biggest insight he had was that procrastination is not about time management. It's not about not knowing what to do. It's not about not knowing any better use of our time than watching cat videos on YouTube. Rather, it's about emotional management. So the reason why we don't take action, the reason why we procrastinate on things, is because we think it's going to be too hard. We think it's going to take too long. We think it's going to be just difficult, and we might embarrass ourselves, we might fail, that we all have all these insecurities and doubts and fears in ourselves, right? So just think back to the last time that you had to give a public presentation. When was the moment that you were most afraid, that you were most anxious? Most likely, it wasn't while actually performing. It wasn't while actually doing it, while actually talking to people. But rather, it was beforehand. While you're picturing in your mind all the thousands of ways in which you would fail, in which you would embarrass yourself, in which people would laugh at you and think you're stupid, right? And so there's this amazing quote by Mark Twain. He said, "I've had many bad experiences in my life, most of which never actually happened." And so the reason I love that is because it's so true. It's that so many times we're torturing ourselves in our minds, when in actuality, doing the thing wouldn't be that bad at all. And so the single fastest way to overcoming procrastination that Dr. Pychyl has found is to just get started with the first tiny little step. So for example, if you had a goal of going for a 6-mile run tonight, but you get back from work and you're kind of tired, you're feeling really drained, and you really just want to kind of watch a movie and chill, right? What you can do is not focus on, I'm going to run the 6 miles today, and you try to push yourself through. Because most of the times, it's going to be so painful. It's going to be so painful in your mind that you just much rather stay on the couch watching movies, right? But what if instead, you only commit to putting on your running clothes, putting on your shoes, and walking outside? Because once you're outside, you're like, well, might as well just get in a little bit workout, right? So you run half a mile. And once you get to the half-mile mark, you're like, well, actually, might as well run the whole thing, right? Because in that moment, you made some progress, you took some action, you feel better about yourself, and you realize running actually isn't that bad. It's really not that painful. And so you keep going. And so the single most important key takeaway for you is this. If you're struggling with something, if you're just on YouTube right now because you really don't feel like taking any action towards your main goal in life, focus on the first tiny little step, whatever it is. Opening the Word document, putting in your name and the date, and maybe writing on the first sentence. Just taking the first little step. Because once you've done that, you build momentum. Once you've done that, you make some progress, and it feels good, and it's going to be easier to keep going. And so guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button below, and then get off of YouTube. Get off of all social media, all that garbage, and focus on the first tiny little step. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Now get to work.